Right now, something is looking at you. The wall socket by the floor, two little holes, and a slot underneath is staring up at you with a tiny, permanently shocked expression. The car parked outside is glaring at the road with two headlight eyes and a chrome grille mouth. The coat rack in the corner has a face. Your coffee has a face floating in the foam. The three holes in a bowling ball, that outlet, has been silently gasping at you for years, and you never introduced yourself. None of these things have a face. The socket is not surprised. The car is not angry. The coffee foam has no feelings about you. There is no one in there, no eyes, no mouth, no anyone. It's plastic and metal and milk. And yet you cannot make yourself unsee it. Try right now. Look at any outlet and try to see two holes and a slot. You can't. The instant it enters your vision, a switch flips behind your eyes. The holes become eyes, and the slot becomes a little round shocked mouth, and a face is just there, uninvited, whether you asked for one or not. This happens hundreds of times a day. Peppers, houses, cars, clouds, the moon, a power drill, a pair of dice. You're wading through a world of objects silently making faces at you, and you've decided this is normal. It is not. It isn't a glitch or a trick or your imagination running loose. It's a system, a specific, physical, hardwired system in your head, running every second you're awake, doing a job it was built to do so aggressively that it will happily invent a human being out of a sandwich. We're going to follow that system all the way down, to a brain scanner, to a hospital delivery room, to the surface of Mars, and to a 10-year-old grilled cheese that sold for the price of a car. By the end, you'll know exactly why the outlet is staring at you, because the reason it has a face isn't in the object, it's in you. Start with the fact that this is real. Physical hardware, the part people don't believe. You have a piece of your brain whose main job is faces. It sits on the underside, tucked below and behind your ears, in a fold called the fusiform gyrus. In 1997, a neuroscientist named Nancy Kanwisher slid people into an fMRI scanner and showed them faces, then chairs, then hands, then houses, and watched one small patch light up like a struggling bulb for faces and respond far less to the chairs, the hands, the houses. She named it the fusiform face area, the FFA. It showed up in 12 of the first 15 people she scanned. You have one. It's glowing right now because a face is on the screen. And here's the part that should raise the hairs on your arm. That patch does not wait for a real face. Show it a car front, an outlet, a knot in a tree, anything with two things over one thing, and it fires anyway. The machinery meant for your mother's face is the exact same machinery tripped by a stove, and it's fast. Wire someone into an EEG cap, one of those swim caps with the dangling electrodes, and about 170 milliseconds after a face hits the eye, a sharp electrical dip rolls across the back of the skull. Scientists named it, thrillingly, the N170. That's less than a fifth of a second, faster than you can blink, faster than you can think the word face. By the time the thinking part of you has done anything at all, the face is already detected, flagged, and filed. And, you guessed it, face-like objects set off that same jolt. So this is not you having an imagination. A dedicated chunk of neural tissue is scanning your whole visual world for faces, firing before you're conscious, tripping on the false ones as eagerly as the real ones. The question is no longer why you see a face in the outlet. It's why you were built with a machine this jumpy. And the answer is older than you'd guess. Here's how old. It was running before you'd been alive for a single hour. In 1991, a psychologist named Mark Johnson ran a study that sounds almost unbelievable. He and his team took newborn babies, real, brand new, minutes-old humans, still in the hospital, some under an hour old, and slowly swept a paddle in front of their eyes. On some paddles, 3 dark blobs arranged like 2 eyes and a mouth. On others, the same 3 blobs scrambled into nonsense. And these babies, who had barely had time to learn anything about faces, whose vision was still crude and close range, reaching only a foot or so in front of them, turned their heads to follow the face-shaped paddle further. They ignored the scramble. They chased the face. Sit with that timeline, before its first meal, before it knew it had hands, before it had any idea what a mother even was. The human brain was already hunting for 2 eyes and a mouth, tracking it across the room like a little radar dish. Johnson figured there had to be a built-in starter program, present at birth, whose only instruction is find the face. You did not learn to see faces. You showed up already looking for them before you could do anything else at all. Which gets us to the why. Why would evolution bolt a face finder into a creature before it can even lift its own head? The answer is the whole point of this video. And it is beautiful. Your face detector is a smoke alarm. Think about the smoke alarm on your ceiling. It is an idiot. It shrieks at burnt toast. It shrieks at shower steam. 999 times out of 1,000 it's wrong, and you stand on a chair waving a towel at it. But you don't rip it off the ceiling, because the one time it isn't wrong, the one actual fire at 3 in the morning, it saves your entire life. 1,000 false alarms are an acceptable price for never missing the real one. Your brain runs the exact same math on faces. It's one major evolutionary explanation for this whole phenomenon. Scientists call it an overeager agency detector. The idea, associated with researchers like Stuart Guthrie and Justin Barrett, that we're built to overdetect someone's there because the cost of the two possible mistakes is wildly lopsided. Play it out. A shape in the shadows. Option 1. It's a face, a rival, a stranger, a predator crouched and watching, and you assume it's nothing. That mistake gets you killed. Option 2. It's nothing. A rock, a shrub, a trick of moonlight, and you flinch and assume it's a face. That mistake costs you one embarrassed heartbeat. One error ends your bloodline. The other wastes half a second. So evolution did the ruthless thing. It cranked the sensitivity dial to the top and welded it there. Better you jump at 10,000 shadows than miss the one leopard. You are not descended from the calm, sensible ones who correctly ignored the bushes. Those got eaten. You descend entirely from the twitchy, paranoid ones who saw a face in every shadow and lived to be paranoid another day. Every anxious, wait, is someone there you've ever felt is a family heirloom, handed down from an ancestor whose jumpiness is the only reason you exist. So the face in the outlet is not a malfunction. It's the alarm doing exactly what it was built to do. Never miss. A plastic socket wearing a startled expression is just the burnt toast of the face detection system. Now watch how much further this alarm goes than just spotting a face, because it doesn't stop at "there's a face." And this is where it gets genuinely uncanny. You don't just see a face in an object. You read its mood. Look at a house where 2 upstairs windows sit above a door and 1 blind is half drawn. That house is smug, a little suspicious of you. A car with narrow, swept-back headlights and a low grille doesn't just have a face. It has a snarl. A round-eyed economy car has a cheerful, faintly stupid grin. You are not deciding this. It arrives fully formed. The face detector hands you not just eyes and a mouth, but happy, angry, worried, sly. A complete emotional read on a thing incapable of feeling anything. And this is measurable. In 2021, a team including David Allais and Jessica Tauber had people rate the expressions on illusory faces, the accidental faces in peppers, buildings, suitcases, and found people reliably agreed on whether a bell pepper looked happy or furious. But here's the sharp part. Those judgments bled over. Rate a grumpy-looking object, then rate a real human face right after, and the real face gets dragged grumpier. The very same emotion-reading machinery runs on the pepper and on the person. Your brain files them in the same drawer. So when you walk past a sad-looking mailbox and feel a flicker of something for it, that's not you being soft. That's your genuine full-power emotion recognition system, the one you use to read your best friend's face across a table, being fired at a metal box on a post. The alarm doesn't just say face, it says face, and he looks like he's having a rough day. And if your brain will assign a mood to a mailbox, you can guess it'll assign something else you never agreed to. And when scientists measured it, the result was so lopsided, it's almost funny. Every face you see in an object has a gender, and it is almost always a man. In 2022, researchers led by Susan Wardle at the U.S. National Institutes of Health ran the largest study of its kind. Nearly 4,000 people, thousands of accidental faces. The face in a suitcase, a potato, a washing machine, a chunk of bark. One question, does this illusory face read as male or female? And the result was staggeringly one-sided. Across the whole set of thousands of illusory faces, the overwhelming majority read as male, and only a small minority skewed female. A male bias of roughly 4-to-1. And here's the honest part. Nobody's entirely sure why, and it wasn't because the objects were manly. It held up across suitcases and potatoes and door handles and clouds. It wasn't the object at all. It was the face detector's factory setting. A bare minimum face, 2 dots and a line. The absolute skeleton of a face, E, comes out of your brain male by default. To read as female, a face apparently needs extra, specific cues. To read as male, it needs nothing. Male is the blank template. Male is what a face is before it's anything else. Here's the thing you can test tonight, and the thing you'll be telling someone at dinner. Go look at the faces around your house. The socket, the car, the tap, the coat hook, the toaster. Ask each one, man or woman. And you'll feel it immediately, without deciding. They're almost all men. Your kitchen is staffed entirely by tiny, startled, invisible men. And it was true this whole time, and you never noticed because nobody told you to check. That's your face detector's default setting, exposed. A machine so eager to build a person out of an object that it doesn't wait to find out who they are. It stamps male, picks a mood, and moves on. Now, if this machine is as ancient and automatic as I keep claiming, it should show up in more than just humans. It should be older than us. And it is. Monkeys see it too. and you can see a face in literally nothing at all. Start with the monkeys, because they quietly settle the argument. In 2017, Jessica Tauber and colleagues showed rhesus macaques the same object photos that trip pareidolia in US. The peppers, the pastries, the accidental faces, and the monkeys did exactly what you do. They stared longer at the objects with faces. They locked onto the illusory eyes. This is not a human quirk or a side effect of cartoons and phones and emojis. A monkey with no cartoons, no emojis, no internet culture at all looks at the same accidental face and locks onto it too. This wiring is older than our whole species. We inherited it already switched on. And now, the truly unhinged part. You don't even need an object. In 2014, a team ran a study with the greatest title in modern neuroscience, Seeing Jesus in Toast. They showed people pure visual noise, literal television static, the gray snow of a dead channel, and told them half the images hid a faint face. There were none. Every image was random nothing, and people reported seeing a face in the static about a third of the time, 1 in 3, in nothing. And when they did, the scanner caught that fusiform face area, the same 1997 patch, lighting up as if a real face were there. Your brain doesn't find the face in the noise. It projects the face onto the noise. It runs the template over the raw fuzz, and when a few random specks line up close enough to 2 eyes and a mouth, the alarm fires and hands you a face that was never there. Which is why a couple of char marks on a piece of bread can become a religious icon. Which is why, in 1976, this same overeager alarm, running not in one person, but in millions at once, very nearly convinced the human race that there were aliens on Mars. Let me tell you about the face on Mars. On the 25th of July, 1976, a NASA probe called Viking 1 was sweeping over a dusty Martian region called Cydonia, photographing the ground below. In one grainy frame, the low sun threw long shadows across a 2-kilometer lump of rock, a mesa, a flat-topped hill, and the shadows fell in a way that carved out 2 eye sockets, a ridge of nose, and a grim, straight mouth. A colossal stone face, nearly a mile wide, staring up out of the Martian desert into space. NASA's own scientists knew instantly what it was. The chief scientist, Gerald Soffin, waved it off on the spot as a trick of light and shadow. But it was too late. The photo got out. And the human face detector did what it always does, except now it had a face the size of a city on another planet, and it would not let go. For 20 years, it grew into a full mythology, books, documentaries. A man named Richard Hoagland built a career arguing the face was a monument carved by a lost Martian civilization, part of a ruined city with pyramids beside it. Serious people demanded NASA go back for a closer look. The face on Mars became the crown jewel of the "they're hiding aliens from us" movement. So, NASA went back. In 1998 and again in 2001, the Mars Global Surveyor flew over Cydonia with a camera many times sharper than Viking's and shot the face in crisp daylight. And it was, of course, a hill, an ordinary, wind-eroded, lumpy mesa, exactly like the dozen lumpy mesas next to it. No eyes, no mouth, no monument. Just a rock that, on one afternoon in 1976, at one sun angle, in one blurry photo, lined up close enough to 2 eyes and a mouth to hijack the imagination of an entire planet. That's the raw power of the thing in your head. A pile of Martian dirt, lit wrong for a single hour, tripped enough human face detectors that we spent 20 years seriously debating Martians. The same alarm that flinches at a wall socket, scaled up to the size of a species and pointed at the sky. And the everyday version hangs over you every clear night. The man in the moon is just the dark patches of ancient hardened lava, the Maria, splashed across the moon more than 3 billion years ago. 2 dark seas for eyes, 1 for a mouth. We call it the man in the moon. But that figure isn't universal. Cultures all over the world looked up at the same dark Maria and read something alive into them. A face, a man, a woman, a rabbit, a toad. Different figures, the same instinct. Everyone running a pattern finder over the same patches of frozen rock. Which brings us home, because there's an industry that figured all of this out, and it is using your face detector against you on purpose. Look at the front of a car. Any car. You have never once thought of it as a radiator, a bumper, and 2 lamps. You think of it as a face, and the people who designed it counted on that. Car designers have known for decades that the headlights are eyes and the grille is a mouth, and they tune those features like a sculptor tunes an expression. Researchers including Sonia Windhager have shown that people reliably read personality into car fronts, and that across cultures as different as Austria and Ethiopia, people rate the same car shapes as dominant, mature, and male, the way we read power in a human face. Narrow, slanted headlights read as a glare. A big, low grille reads as a strong jaw. That squinting, angry look on a modern SUV is not an accident. It was designed in a studio by adults to make the face detector in your head flinch and think powerful. And it goes deeper than a feeling. In a 2014 brain scanning study titled, I Promise, Is This Car Looking at You?, the more strongly a person saw a car as having a face, the more their fusiform face area lit up, the literal face patch of the brain glowing at a car grille. And somewhere, there are adults with good salaries whose entire job is to sculpt that face until it reaches past your rational mind and makes you want it. Your face detector has been weaponized, and it's parked in your driveway, which is impressive, but it's nothing compared to what a woman in Florida did with a sandwich. A woman named Diana Dizer was making a grilled cheese sandwich in Hollywood, Florida. She took it out of the pan, took a single bite, and in the toasted marks on the bread, she saw a face looking back at her. She was certain it was the Virgin Mary, gazing serenely up out of her lunch. Now, a reasonable person eats the sandwich. Diana Dizer did not eat the sandwich. She put it in a plastic box, packed it with cotton balls, and kept it on her nightstand, where, she swore, over 10 full years, it never grew a single spot of mold. Make of that what you will. Then, in 2004, she put the Virgin Mary grilled cheese up for auction on eBay, and the internet lost its mind. The listing pulled in around 1.5 million views, and when the gavel came down, the winning bid for a 10-year-old grilled cheese sandwich was $28,000. The buyer was an online casino, which promptly took the holy sandwich on tour. $28,000 for a sandwich, the price of a new car, for a decade-old piece of bread because 2 char marks fell in the exact spots where a brain checks for eyes, and a third where it checks for a mouth. No miracle, no Virgin Mary, just toast and a face detector doing its one job with such conviction that it turned $1 of dairy into the most valuable sandwich in human history. That grilled cheese is the whole video in one object. The smoke alarm shrieking at burnt bread, literally, this time, and a room full of people so certain there was a person in there that they bid a fortune to own her. So go back to your own house, to the outlet on the wall. Look at it, 2 eyes, 1 little shocked mouth. Now you know what it really is. Not a face, an alarm, the oldest and most loyal alarm you own, going off exactly as designed. The same system that turned toward the light in the first hour of your life before you knew you had a mother. The same system a monkey carries. The same one that saw a man in the moon for every human who ever lived, built a civilization on Mars out of a shadow, and sold a sandwich for the price of a car. And it never sleeps. That's the part to hold on to. Tonight, when you switch off the lamp and the coats on the hook and the shape of the dressing gown on the door resolve for 1 cold second into a person standing in the corner, and your heart lurches before your mind can catch up and say, it's a coat. That is not weakness. It's a guardian at its post, doing the one thing it swore to do. It would rather scare you 1,000 times over a coat than let you walk, unwarned, past the one real face in the dark. You spend your life thinking you look out and simply see what's there. You don't. You see a world stitched over with faces that were never there. Your car, your coffee, your outlets, your moon. Because somewhere behind your eyes, a small, ancient, tireless machine loves being alive so much that it refuses to miss a single face, even the ones that don't exist. So the next time an object catches you off guard, a van smirks, a building looks sad, a socket gasps, don't shake it off. Say hello. Something in you worked hard for a very long time to make sure you'd never be alone in an empty room again.